something? What is something you're afraid to try, Elizabeth? That's not that bad. That's not that bad.
No.
Subscriptions, you know.
This is rough.
Yeah.
I'm like
Buy
sweating.
this candy. Yeah, I know. Me too.
Oh, that was a rough one.
Yeah,
we come in and
these people are like, why would he do that? You know. You know, I feel like
you have to do this with every person you bring on now.
I don't know if this is a good idea, Elizabeth. This is torture. You know what I mean? Because I'm not a spicy person.
Me
like
either.
Bigfoot. So you believe in it? Do you think they came and visited us? How did we turn into this? We're talking about aliens now.
I know.
I think you'll be all right.
I'm ready.
And you can. Okay, here we go. Let me pull up my podcasting app as well too.
Let's do it.
All right. Welcome to another podcast. I feel like I've been running around here.
I know. Out of breath.
Out of breath. I have the one and the only Elizabeth Hadley here. Ba-ba-ba-ba.
What is up?
Yeah. I don't know.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So Elizabeth is a reporter at KMVT. So you're like, I've seen this person. How many episodes or like shows or edits stories have you done? If you had to just take a wild guess, where do you think you're at?
All right. Well, we do 2 a day, 5 times a week.
Yeah.
So that would be 10.
Yeah.
So 2.5 years times 10 stories a week.
Yeah. How many? Yeah. We can figure this out.
What's the math on that? I'm not good at math. That's why.
Yeah. We have to do a lot of math here.
That's why I'm in journalism.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. We'll flash it, you know, like Arnell do the future math and then boom, this is exactly how many episodes she's done and so forth.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I reached out to you today and I was like, oh, you know who would be really good to have on the podcast? Elizabeth. Because I feel like you've talked to a lot of interesting people. And I was also kind of wondering is like, ooh, I wonder if she's got any favorite, like, not songs. I almost said favorite songs, but favorite episodes or stories that you've done. Is there any stories that like you're like, this was like amazing. I can't believe I got to do this or so forth. What can you tell us about that, Elizabeth?
You know what, Arnell, there are. And it's hard. Sometimes I wish I had more time to work on them to make them good but we're in a very deadline oriented business. So we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the news starts when it starts. So.
Yeah, the news is happening every day.
You know, right?
You figure something out for the day.
But I really enjoy doing like feature stories about, you know, people that, because I truly believe that everybody has a story. Yeah. So I love to find those cool people that are like, you know, changing the world because of something that happened to them. But there's some that I remember that I will always remember. Even if I don't do this job forever, like I will always remember this one girl named Kennedy, and she got in a really bad car accident. She ended up like losing her leg because they couldn't save it, and that was the only way she could live. And anyway, she's only 17, and she really has just overcome a lot of pain and struggles. But she's like, I know there's a reason that I'm still alive. And she's just kind of, you know, overcoming a lot, which I think is super powerful. And not a lot of people can do that. So at such a young age.
Yeah, that would just be very traumatic if you just lost a leg.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, a lot of people are able to kind of like take that and then convert it into like a positive and try to like help out other people going through something similar because, you know, other people run into. Which
is what she's, you know, going to do. And I totally see her doing that. But I just think at such a young age to have gone through so much and to still be positive and, you know, like, you know,
just be positive that like she's alive and so forth.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of people are just like, another day, you know, but she probably is like, he's got this
Thank
burden.
God I have
another,
it's
like,
know?
It should be very happy that you got another day. You can do anything you want.
Right, absolutely. And
So that one stood out for you for sure.
Absolutely. I will never forget her. And I hope she
Maybe I should see if I can get her on the podcast too.
You should see.
That would be interesting.
She would be awesome.
I know there was a guy. Oh, I think you did a story with the guy that jumped off the, not the Prime Bridge.
Dude,
but
I was just about to mention him.
You were just about to mention him?
Because he was also somebody who has overcome a lot. So he attempted to kill himself by jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yes.
But he didn't die, which only 34 people in the world that have attempted to kill themselves by jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge have survived.
I found a video about him a long time ago about this, and then I found a very interesting, like, what his thought was. Did he tell you? I already know what he says, but did he tell you?
Well, he instantly regretted it.
Exactly. It's like, so people think like, oh, it's a solution to all your problems, but as soon as he will fully let go to be falling
to kill himself, he was like, wait, I don't want to do this.
I don't want to do this.
Basically, yeah. So now he travels all around the country and the world. Even he goes to Australia, London. He talks about, how what he did and how he's so glad he didn't die because there's, we all go through pain and we all go through bad days, but we can all overcome it. Yeah. And he has, and he really is inspiring,
Yeah, I should have went to hear that speech.
That's how I got to talk to him. He was just here. So.
Damn. See, anytime you find somebody good, Elizabeth, be like, listen, I got this other thing you can do as well, which is a podcast. So if you find somebody like, oh, this is definitely worthy, send them my way because I want to talk to them.
I'll get you. Kennedy would be really cool. Okay. She would be awesome.
I want to talk to her and see her story and so forth. That seems very interesting.
Amazed. At what she's overcome.
Heck yeah, help me out here, Elizabeth.
We're on the same path, so.
Yeah.
But so those are two, I think that.
Those two definitely. So it seems like you really kind of like inspiring people's story and you like their stories. Like if they have a cool story like that and you can see that it'll help out other people, you really enjoy those.
Well, you know what, Arno, I've also struggled with mental health. I have a lot of anxiety. Yeah. And I just think something that helped me was seeing people that have overcome or, still are working on it, which I am, but you can overcome it and you can become successful no matter what your circumstances are. And so that's why I do these stories and I just hope it reaches like one person like me, because those are stories I would have needed when I was younger. You're
providing inspiration and uplifting videos to get them to where like they'll be in a happier state.
Exactly,
basically.
Because this world is hard some days, but there's also a lot of good. So I just try to look for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Speaking of, let's talk about like how you got here to Twin Falls. Let's figure out your backstory a little bit here. So where did you grow up?
Well, in Massachusetts, which is the other side of the country.
The other side of the country. Okay. So not a lot of people know about you.
No. And they're like amazed when I tell them that. They're like, why are you here?
Yeah. So tell us, how did you get here? Like so, during, you at one point must have wanted to basically be like, I want to do broadcasting and so forth.
Well,
right.
I always had trouble sleeping. When I was young, and I would wake up really early and not be able to fall back to sleep. So I would go to my parents' room and I would lay with them, it was like 8, 9, and they would be like, turn on the TV and watch the news.
Okay.
And so I did, but eventually it became like this thing where I wanted to wake up early, not because I had to or because I couldn't sleep anymore, but like I wanted to because I loved watching the news.
Oh, okay.
And I remember, getting older and my parents were like, so what do you think you want to do? Like go to college. What do you think is something you're interested in? And I was like, I want to be a news reporter.
Oh, okay.
And so I grew up there in Massachusetts, and then, high school comes around, you start kind of honing in on something that you're kind of passionate about. Right. And I really, that was what I wanted to do. And at the time I didn't realize all the, that goes into it.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. It's like people don't understand how much work it takes to go even do a story.
So much.
Yeah,
we can get to that.
We'll get to that.
And then I went to college, Suffolk University, great school, shout out to them. And I majored in broadcast journalism. I had 5 internships at different stations around. You know, I was just trying to do everything I could to, you know, it's a very competitive field.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to make sure I was standing out. So I tried to get live experience, and I tried to, you know, work at actual TV stations to see what it was like. And then senior year came around, and I started applying for jobs, and this one came about.
So, like, hey, you're a reporter. Come on to Twin.
Exactly.
And then
so then I drove all the way across the country.
You drove all of your stuff.
Yes.
To move it to Twin Falls, Idaho.
Boston to Twin Falls.
How long was that drive?
5 days.
5-day drive. Wow.
But my mom came, and we stopped and we saw some stuff along the way. So that was cool. But
that's cool. So then you got settled here. And when did you get, then at one point you got a dog.
Yes, my buddy Jackson. So I came here in June 2019, which was only 1 month after I graduated college. So I was very young.
And would you say, like, being somebody that wants to be kind of like a storyteller, do you think journalism is a great option? Or
absolutely,
because I feel like a lot of people do like telling stories.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good, I love to tell stories, and like I said, I believe everybody has a story. Like, you have a story.
Yeah, I'm always telling people story or talking to them about their story.
Yeah. It's interesting to get under the surface, right? Of, you see me every day walking around, but you don't really know what I've gone through to come to this point of my life, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I think about with everybody.
Yeah, it's like, what is that person's story?
Right, exactly. Yeah. And so what I would love someday is to just do stories about that.
Yeah, just people stories.
That would be awesome. But you gotta work to that.
You gotta slowly ramp up to that itself. Yeah, but that's awesome. Yeah, I think it's a great job because essentially you're just telling other people's stories and things like that. So.
It's a great job. You definitely get to meet a lot of cool people that you'd probably never meet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And do a lot of things and go a lot of places that you'd probably never go.
How did we end up meeting? Did you just show up to the dog park?
I remember the first time we met was on the 4th of July in Rupert.
Oh my gosh.
And I was at
so
the
random.
Parade for KMVT, covering the parade. And you walked up to me and you were
shooting video.
It, but like just for your own self, and I kind of did a little thing for you.
Yeah, I remember what happened, which was basically Visit Southern Idaho wanted me to go do like a thing about Rupert and about their
because they have this giant festival.
Not that many people know about it. Like, but then you show up there and you're like, what is going on here?
It's huge. It's so
huge.
cool.
It's like a huge event. Cool. And then I was like recording some stuff, and then I see you, right? And then you had the KMVT like jacket and so forth. And I was like, okay, I can ask a random person to like talk for me, or I could just go to KMVT person.
In the business, we call that MOS, which stands for Man on the Street, which is essentially what you were going to do. And that's the worst.
Oh, yeah.
Asking random people to talk to you is the worst.
It's really tough because it's like, because like, people don't want to feel like rejected too, because then it's like almost like hitting on them, like, hey, do you mind if I record? And then like, you're hoping like, just say
please
yes.
Say yes. Please say yes.
Say yes. And then they'll usually just say, as long as you get the credentials and they see who you are and then so forth. But if it's just like a random person coming up and like saying that to you, it's like, I don't know. Yeah, a lot of people.
It's tough. And parades are easy.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're happy.
There's so many people there too to pick out from.
Right. So if you get no from one person, you just move to the next in line.
Yeah.
But there are some events that we do that at that are tough.
It's like sometimes people are camera shy too.
Yeah.
I was talking
like voting at the polls. Like that's an important.
Yeah, it's like a private kind of thing too. They don't want to like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah. So that's a hard thing to get people to talk to you for. But
it must be tough just kind of like approaching people too sometimes.
Yeah, I usually like, plan out what I'm going to say to them.
And
I'm like, I have it in my brain, and then I go up and I just spit it out.
Yeah. It's like, hey.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth from KMVT. I'm doing a story about blah blah blah.
Yeah, it's like, please, I need some more content. I can't just have B-roll footage.
Yeah.
You know,
it's tough.
Let's talk about that. I kind of find that interesting as well because I'm kind of like an editor / video shooter. So I kind of want to pick your brain. I kind of get how all of this works, but I want to almost kind of play a scenario where like how your brain processes the edit. You know, like how do you structure the story itself? So I guess I wanted to do something like this, which was like, imagine I'm like a farmer in Idaho.
Okay.
This is a new story, I guess, you know?
Right.
And I've developed a potato, a new type of potato. Okay.
Big news.
Big news.
Yeah.
This potato does not taste like a potato, but it tastes like a banana. Okay. So this is some new technology, okay? And then you get this report,
and
right?
I come out to your farm.
And then you come out to my farm. Okay, let's see what happens here, and then how you're structuring this and what's going through your head.
We'd hear about it. I'd call you.
Yes.
Say, hey, man.
This is Jim with potatobananas.com.
Yeah.
How can I help you?
And I'd say, hey, I heard about your new product. I'd love to come over and, feature it on KMVT.
Okay.
People would love to hear about this. Is there a time we could schedule?
Yeah, I guess I can do it tomorrow,
All right, great. Yeah, noon? Does that work?
Noon sounds good to me.
All right. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
So then the next day would come. I'd be driving over there.
Are you thinking
planning
about the
out
edit?
my questions?
So you're thinking about like your questions that you're going to already ask them? Like what kind of questions are you thinking about this potato banana thing?
Well, I love to leave it up to you, right? It's your story.
Okay.
So I'd just be like, okay, so give me an overview. Like, how long have you been in farming? How'd you find this new technique?
Okay.
And what's your, do you sell just to, producers, or can people come here and buy from you? Are you like a grocery store? I would want to know all that stuff.
All the details.
Yeah.
Right.
All
Do you
that.
write them down or anything
No.
like that? Or you just have them in your head?
Well, we're always recording.
Oh, okay.
On
So
the camera.
The questions, how do you keep them intact? That way they're
Well, I don't want to plan it out too much because
Uh-huh.
I do want to leave it up to you.
Oh, okay.
So I would want like my first question,
Kind of tell
but
me
then
an overview of what's going on.
a general, how long have you been a farmer? Like, why did you want to be a farmer? Like, just that
stuff like that. Yeah.
And then based off of what you say is how I plan my next questions.
Oh, okay. So then you're figuring
So if you say like, well, I came here from Iowa because
got better land here.
got better land from my potatoes.
Yep.
I would want to know more about that, right? But if you say like, well, I was born here and I've always lived right here, then there's a whole different aspect to the story,
Gotcha.
So that's kind of what I do.
And then after you get all of these questions answered, and then you basically are heading back to the studio.
We got to get our B-roll.
Oh yeah, you got to get the B-roll. Yeah, you got to get the B-roll.
You know that,
Yeah.
So I'd be like, all right, so show me your crops. So you'd be bending down, you'd be picking up a potato. I'd be recording that. I'd be getting my zoomed in shots.
How much is too much B-roll footage? Because I sometimes get way too much B-roll footage. It's like, oh my god, now I gotta watch all of this.
Yeah. Well, you gotta get a tight shot, a medium shot, and then a wide shot.
Yeah.
Right, of like each thing.
Uh-huh.
So generic farm, and then zoom in on the potato, and then you planting the potato.
Banana potatoes.
Yeah, banana potatoes. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think there is too much B-roll.
Then what happens is you take it back to the studio. You got the B-roll and you got the talking points.
Right. We got the
then
sound bites.
what are you thinking when you're then at the editing bay? It's like, how are you forming this? How are you forming the structure of the story itself? What's going on through your head?
And what's
then?
funny is a lot of people don't realize that we do our editing. Some people think we have people to do that
Oh
for
my
us.
gosh. Imagine if your life imagine if your life was like you
I would have
bring
so
in,
much free time.
yeah, you're just like eating
Sitting
a banana.
there.
You could be eating a potato banana.
Yeah, drinking my coffee. Like,
Drinking
all
your
right,
coffee.
go ahead.
Go ahead, edit that. But I think you need to be in control of the edit because, like, if you leave it up to somebody else to edit it, it won't be the story that you're trying to tell.
Because they weren't there.
They weren't there.
Exactly.
So it has to be you.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
Because, like, if I were to just let somebody else edit for me, it's like, that's not at all what I was going for or so forth.
That wasn't the point that I wanted to get. Right. Absolutely.
So I think you being there understands the story itself.
Yeah,
so
I totally agree.
So let's focus in on this. So what happens when you get back to the editing bay? It's like, what are you thinking of? How are you structuring the story itself? Are you saying that, are you doing like some voiceover stuff first, like to kind of set up the story, or what?
Well, I always... It took me, so when you first start the job, you're going to be slower at editing because at first you're not going to have an idea of which like sound bites you want to use. But when I'm doing the interview, I know immediately like if
that's it.
That is the sound I'm using.
You're mentally telling yourself like that is what I will use.
And I'll remember like, oh, he said that early on, or he said that in the middle, you know?
So
I will literally just go to that, and I know that's what I'm using because it takes you a while to get to that point, but eventually you realize like half of what you say, I can sum up myself.
Oh, okay.
But I want the emotional part. I want you crying because you love your potato farm so much, and you can raise your kids here or whatever. You're
looking for the emotion and how they feel about something, so that way you can kind of like emphasize the story itself. And
how does this impact you, and why should people care?
That's a good point. Gotcha. So then basically you're structuring it as like, do you write it down? Do you write down the story?
Oh, yeah.
You do?
Oh,
See,
yeah.
I don't do that. So you're telling me when you go back to the office itself, you write down the story, kind of like
we write the scripts.
You write down the script, like how, what has happened, and then you're remembering in your brain, like, oh, he said this, so
and
then
that's what I want.
And then you basically put that into the script itself, and then just kind of let it flow itself.
Right.
These stories, how long are they typically? They're just like 2-3 minutes?
No.
5 minutes?
A minute 30.
Oh, minute 30?
Yeah.
See, that's not that bad then. You know, it's a minute.
See, what's tough is getting it in that short of amount of time.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes
I want more.
Yeah. This is why I'm doing these podcasts, because like I take these cameras and I just let everything play out.
Yeah, right.
And then that way the whole story is told.
Right.
Because like, sure, you're fine with the 1 minute and 30 seconds clip, but imagine if you heard the whole story. Some people want to hear the whole entire story.
Right.
So I just let it play out.
That's great.
It's you get to hear the whole story. So like, for
example,
in
news, it is only a 30-minute show.
Yeah, so. I know, that's true. See,
and I'm not the only one.
Yeah,
you know, we got weather, we got commercials, we got sports. So.
There's so much stuff. It's not like you're doing like a whole documentary. It's like this is it,
which I think would be so cool.
Yeah, maybe you should just upload the whole raw footage. You know, like all the questions, even with the mess ups or so.
Go home from my day at work to do more editing.
Oh, yeah, that would be a little bit tough, because then you got a whole hour worth of. How long are these interviews typically for? Because sometimes KMVT interviews, they could be like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour.
Right.
You know,
it depends. Yeah, like the one with Kennedy, with the girl who got in the car accident. That was a long interview.
Really?
Really long.
See, I feel like you would want to show the whole entire interview itself on that, so that way people can kind of get the full story versus cutting it down to like what you're like, this is it. And that's it.
Yeah.
There's probably more value, I feel like, in the longer form one.
Yeah. I think that's just how news is, you know.
Yeah.
If in broadcast news.
In broadcast.
If you're in print, which is different, totally different.
Then you can
have a longer, but in broadcast, that's just like the norm, you know?
Yeah. Going back to like when you came back to Twin, what did you think of Twin when you first came in? Because you came from Boston, right?
Right.
So that's like I would say that's a pretty big city.
Yeah. It is, yeah.
So how did it go? How did your transition go from like big city to small city? What did you think about that?
Well, I was excited because that's the only place I ever lived. And I didn't move away for college like a lot of people do. So I was excited. And I wanted to be open to whatever happened. It's kind of how I was going into it. I just want to be open, and, you know, I don't want to have this narrative in my head of how it's going to be. I just want it to happen, you know?
Oh, okay.
So, but it was tough at first. I was very lonely, which is partly why I got Jackson, my dog, because you should like, you know what you should do is put like a picture of him right here. Of me talking. Just like put
a picture of Jackson
He's
here.
so cute.
Yeah.
But I got him at the shelter.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about getting a dog. And then I ended up going to the shelter to do a story with them. And he was there. And he just loved me. And he was like, he has these big eyes and these huge ears. And he's so cute. And I was just like, oh, this dog. Like, I feel so bad. Like, I feel bad for all the dogs. But like, he was just like in love with me, you know?
And then you're like, you have to come
with me.
me.
And so I started to ask them, I'm like, how can I, you know, adopt him?
Yeah, like how do I want this one?
Yeah,
you know?
so I started applying for him and everything, but
he's
been great.
Would you recommend that everybody get a dog? I feel like everybody, it's like you gotta get a dog, you know.
You know what? He's changed my life.
Yeah,
he's the best.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I know.
I mean, yeah, and then so after I met you and Rupert, then we ended up being dog park friends because I started bringing Jackson there.
Yep, exactly.
So it was kind of funny how it was like,
hey, we got Sarah over here in the background.
Yeah,
she's coming in for another podcast later.
Hey, what's going on? But anyway, it was. I think everyone should get a dog.
Yeah, I think so too. Even Sarah's got 2 dogs.
Two?
She's got 2 dogs.
Listen,
I think
Jackson's a lot. I don't know if I can.
Let's clear out. We need to get the whole adoption center dog area cleared out.
Yeah, the shelter.
The shelter. Everybody go get yourself a dog itself.
Bring him to the dog park. Jackson will be friends with it because Jackson loves everybody.
Exactly.
Oh, they're so cute.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love their ears. They're so cute.
All right. Oh, so let's jump into this segment here. This is so you're like, I'm not enjoying. You're like, I'm nervous. I'm nervous for this. Sarah, I got this new segment in the podcast, and Elizabeth is going to be the first one. Okay. We'll see how this goes.
It's spicy.
This is a local person that makes spicy candy. Okay. And his and hers spicy candy. I've never heard of spicy candy.
But I don't do good with spice.
Perfect. So this will be good for you because then if you ever watch this podcast, The Hot Ones, right?
No. Okay.
He has people eat hot wings. And then talk. And then they talk about stuff like this, right? So then what happens is like your mouth is like on fire, and then you're like, oh my gosh. But feel free to spit it out anytime you want if it feels like it's getting too hot or so forth. I'll do this with you too, okay?
Okay, yeah.
So we need
moral support.
Yeah, exactly. So and then
I'm hoping it's just like, you know, one of those cinnamon.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those cinnamon things. Yeah,
is what I'm hoping.
It's very, very. Let me also open up this Pod Decks. Here we go. So I have this Pod Deck app, and what it does is it has questions. I think we did this at the dog park where I was like asking you guys these questions. I told you guys, I was like, hey, I'm starting this podcast. And
and Natalie was there.
Natalie was there. Sarah was there, and I was asking them all these questions. Here, let me get one here as well. That you got 2 of those little
They're
squares.
Stuck.
Yeah, you can just kind of break it off. So again, this is like a local thing here. I think this guy makes this.
Can you buy this upstairs?
You can buy this. I think this guy's bringing some stuff, and he's going to be bringing some. And I think he makes this at Kodo or something like that. So he you know, people are kind of like learning that they can bring stuff. Here, you want to try to?
Why can't I get it? I just want one. I'm nervous.
Okay. Pod Decks.
There,
okay.
I got one.
You got one? Okay, perfect.
I'm gonna wait.
Wait till I open up this custom deck, and then we'll go back to this. Okay. Okay, so these were the questions that I was essentially asking you at the dog park, if you recall. So now we're doing it live. Okay. So
except we don't have barking dogs.
We don't have barking dogs, and if a dog takes a poop, we don't have to go. We got to go pick it up or so forth. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. Okay, so I'll take it, and then you take it. This is hot candy. Okay. What is something? What is something you're afraid to try, Elizabeth?
This candy.
Yeah, okay. Good answer. Oh,
Oh.
Are you related to anybody that's famous?
No.
What was your first job?
I worked at a concession stand at a local baseball park.
Nice. Okay. Where was the most memorable sunset?
Oh, it was in Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was in Florida. It was in Florida. Okay.
It was really pretty.
What is the most interesting thing you've researched? That's not that bad. That's not that bad.
No, my eyes aren't watering.
No. Yeah. What's the most interesting thing you've researched?
Well, I know a lot about the country of Peru.
Peru.
I had to do a whole project on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I
So
took
you know
Spanish
everything
in
about
college.
Peru, huh?
Yeah, not everything, but
What is your favorite YouTube channel?
Hey Arnell.
Bam. That's a good answer. Good answer on that. What is your idea of relaxing? Like, what do you like?
I'm bad at relaxing.
You're
It's not one of my skills.
Really? So, like, how do you unwind after work? Like, what do you do? Do you watch TV,
Yeah.
Netflix?
Yeah,
what's your
all the-
routine?
Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus,
Disney
Amazon
Plus.
Prime. Yeah.
There's so many subscriptions, you know?
This is rough.
Yeah.
I'm like
Buy this
sweating.
candy. Yeah, I know. Me too. It's getting hot in here. Is this an interesting way of doing interviews, huh? Who's the most interesting person you've met?
Derek Huff.
Derek Cuff?
Derek Huff.
Derek Huff. Who's he?
He is a professional ballroom dancer.
Oh, okay. How did you meet him?
Paid a lot of money
Paid a lot of money?
for VIP tickets.
Oh, really? So, I forgot. You said you do tap dancing.
I do.
So this is like a hobby or like...
Yeah, just a hobby.
Just a hobby?
I love to tap dance. Oh, yeah.
I don't think that many people know that you're into tap dancing.
It's just a hobby. It's fun.
Oh, okay, this is what...
When you swallow.
When you swallow.
Yeah.
What about the future are you most excited about?
The future?
Yeah, something about the future. What are you excited about?
I want to go to Peru.
There you go. You feel like, if you've done all this research, you gotta go.
Yeah.
So that should be your next vacation is go to Peru.
It's so awesome.
What's the best thing that happened to you last year? Like, what's the best thing? Like
In 2021.
2021. What's the best thing? Right, this interview's hard
This is really tough.
because like you have like two things happening. One, your mouth is on
Yeah.
fire, and then you got somebody asking you questions.
And I have to think about.
Yeah. Don't swallow.
I know. Last year, probably.
So hot in here.
I don't know. Like, there wasn't that much that happened.
You're like nothing that I recall.
Yeah, it was pretty just standard.
Yeah, just like a beep. Nothing really stood out that you recall. Did you go on any kind of like vacations or anything like that?
I went to Vegas twice. That was fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
what did you do at Vegas?
The
Partied?
first time I went with my boyfriend Trevor, and
Yeah.
that was fun.
Uh-huh.
We just kind of walked around, saw all the stuff.
Fun
But then the
stuff.
second time I went with my mom,
Uh-huh.
and we saw Derek Huff.
Oh, okay. So what is I feel like you got an obsession with this Derek.
I definitely have an obsession. Yeah.
So you like him dancing or something
Well,
like that?
he's a professional dancer, but he's also just like a really good person.
Oh, okay.
And he also, like the two stories I told you, has overcome a lot.
Uh-huh.
And so he's very inspiring
Oh, okay.
because he's worked really hard to get.
I feel
where he
like
is.
that's what you constantly attract to is like people with inspiring stories because you want to hear him. It kind of uplifts you.
You're right. You're totally right.
Yep. Do you collect anything?
Well, yes.
What do you collect?
It's not here though. It's in Massachusetts.
Oh,
but
okay.
I collect like Santa figurines.
Santa figurines.
Because like
little ones or big ones? Like any?
all of them. Like, because I love Christmas. I love Christmas. And like back when I was like a younger kid, and I found out like Santa wasn't real, I was like so sad about it.
Uh-huh.
And so my mom was like, yeah, like he's not real, but like, you know what, Elizabeth, you can be Santa. Like you can bring joy to people. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of like wanted to live by that. And so I just started collecting like random little Santas.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. Yeah. I didn't know you collected Santa figurines.
Yeah. So every Christmas I would put them out.
What's the best thing about your life? I already
Jackson.
I know. I was going to say Jackson. Yeah, he 100% is great.
Jackson.
Yeah. What's the first thought that comes in your head when you wake up? Like you wake up and it's like beep, 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 beep. I'm assuming you have an alarm. What's the first thing that comes out? Like, tell me like.
First thing is like, oh my God, I really don't want to get up.
Yeah. You're like, so you're not a morning person, right? You hate waking up in the morning?
I'm not a night person and I'm not a morning person. I'm just like middle of the day.
Middle of the day would be great.
Yeah.
Let's start our work day, middle of the day itself. Mm-hmm. Okay. So then what happens?
I lay there for like a few more minutes.
Yeah. Do you hit the snooze button multiple times?
Just like once.
Just once?
Yep.
Because if you let it run too many times, it's like...
Well, also like Jackson hears it and he's like, oh, it's time to go out.
Yeah.
And he's like, gotta pee.
Yeah.
And so...
You constantly have to keep him exercise, I feel like.
Yeah, he needs a lot of exercise, yeah.
Then what happens?
Eventually I get up. I complain about it. And then I take him out. We go on our little walk. He goes to the bathroom. We come in. Ooh, that was a rough one. Yeah, we come in and...
these people are like, why would he do that? You know?
It was hard. Then I feed Jackson, and then he just goes back to bed.
Oh, okay.
And then I like get ready for work and stuff.
Gotcha. Cool. What is one thing you'd be really disappointed if you never got to experience? Like, is there something that you want to experience? You know, I feel like you need to do like a base jumping, story and then jump off the bridge. You're like, hey, I'm here doing a base jumping story. And then you jump.
Yeah. I would need a big raise.
You need a big raise for that?
I ain't doing that if I don't get a lot of money.
All right. Maybe your boss will see this and be like, all right, we got to give her a bonus on that one.
Also, I hate like that feeling when you feel like your stomach is going like up into your throat.
You don't like roller coasters?
Absolutely not.
You're not a roller coaster person?
I hate that.
You don't like that? Whoa,
my brother, the complete opposite.
Really?
So like my mom would bring, Bruce and I to like theme parks and stuff or, water parks. Yeah. And I would sit and watch and Bruce would go on every ride.
And you're just there to
sit and watch. I'm not going on.
Interesting. I would have never thought. I thought you might have liked that.
So that's why I don't think I would do good with base jumping either.
Yep. Let's ask a few more of these questions and then I got to let you go. I feel like here. Is there one, it says name one thing you did where the risk was well worth the reward?
Moving here.
Bam. There you go. That's
Absolutely.
A good one.
It's going to be tough, right?
You literally kind of almost had to like drop your whole life in Boston and you have your friends over there too. So you had to like start a whole new life here. What would you say to somebody that's like, I want to go to a new city and start a life? Like, what do you think like there's probably like hesitance that they're like, I don't know if I can do this. You've ever done it. So like, what would you say? Like, what are your like lessons you've learned?
You know what I feel like you should have asked me this without the candy.
Yeah.
But it's going to be hard, but it's also going to be really good. And you just have to give it time. Like, I feel like when people quit stuff is when it's hard.
Yeah.
But everything's hard in the beginning.
Yeah.
So if you just give it time and you just know that it's going to be okay, then you can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of almost just like, just do it, because like you don't want to have that regret.
It's always like, like when we were going to college, it was like the first semesters when people drop out, they always say that. And it's like, that's true. But you know why? Is because the first semester is the hardest. Yeah. But it gets better.
Yeah, it gets better.
And
people quit too easily, I feel like.
They quit too soon.
And the other thing that they don't understand is like there's a lot of repetition. So anything that you want to be good at, like even you doing stories and so forth, you gotta just keep doing it and you'll eventually get better at it.
You kind of almost have to fail.
Yeah, it's like
and
obviously
realize like all the stuff not to do in order to figure out all the stuff you need to do.
exactly.
So I would say to move if you want to, just do it.
Just do it.
Like forget about it. Yes, I did. I left everything. Like that's the only place I've ever lived. Mm-hmm. But I did it.
You did it. You did it.
Is your candy gone?
I still have it.
These things last.
Again, not a sponsor, but
you have to do this with every person you bring on now.
I don't know if this is a good idea, Elizabeth. This is torture. You know what I mean? Because I'm not a spicy person.
Me either.
We just did
I like
it
sweets.
Yeah, this is like we're like torturing ourselves. They have these spicy wing show. You got to see one of these shows, and it's brutal. Is there a contest you think would be fun to judge? I have some ideas.
To judge?
Yeah.
Maybe like a chili eating contest.
Chili eating contest. Speaking of the hot candy eating contest. Yeah. I would like to judge some kind of like dog jumping event. You know what I mean? Like a dog's jumping into water or something like that. I think that would be kind of fun, you know? I don't know, but you can...
That'd be cool, like dog sledding or something, yeah.
Or a dog jumping into like water, you know, like doing a flip.
Oh, okay,
I don't know, like 10 out of 10, you know? Or like, have you ever seen those Red Bull, when they fly off, they have like a platform and then they just kind of like run off or something like that? Oh my God. Oh, this is a good question. What conspiracy do you think is potentially real? Is there any conspiracy theory that you think like, oh, this might be real?
You know what? That's hard because I'm like very trusting.
Oh yeah, then you believe everything.
So I'm just like, yeah, that makes total sense.
Well, what about like, okay, like, do you believe in Bigfoot? That's a good one.
It's only like when you swallow.
Yeah, it's fine. Your mouth is probably going to be on fire after the fact.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
You don't know about Bigfoot?
What are some?
Well, so for example, like, do you believe in aliens?
I think that there's probably life in other galaxies.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many of them.
There's so many of them. Like, how can there not be?
Yeah, I'm like, are we the only ones?
Like, there's no way that we're the only.
Yeah, if you look at how many like galaxies and stars are there, there's like trillions of stars, and those stars have planets. It's like,
and so you're telling me we're the only ones? I don't believe that.
I know, it's hard to believe. It's hard to very believe. So you believe in it? Do you think they came and visited us? How did we turn into this? We're talking about aliens now.
I know. Do you think that they'll come and visit us?
Or have they already visited us?
Ooh.
That's a good question.
What if it's like dogs? What if
aliens
are...
Aliens are dogs. Maybe.
Or like...
But no, I'm talking about like a spaceship ones, right? Like they come in a spaceship, they're like, check us out, and then they're like, we're out of here.
Like that show. Yeah, Alf. There's a show about that.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, you'd like it. It's good.
Is it about aliens?
Yeah, well, Alf, it's spelled ALF.
Okay.
It was made in like maybe the 90s or the 80s.
Okay.
My parents showed it to me.
Oh, okay.
It's funny. It's like an alien comes down and he like lands in these people's backyard and then he ends up like living with them.
Oh, okay.
But like they can't tell anyone. So it's like just this random alien that like never leaves the house.
Okay, that's interesting.
And then when like people come over, he has to like hide.
It sounds like Family Guy.
It's funny. It's funny. You should check that show.
I'll check that out. I remember you telling us like that you really like that one show. What's that one show? It's like
One Tree Hill.
One Tree Hill. You're a big fan of that, right?
Well, you know, I've been to the One Tree Hill convention.
Yeah, you must be like a hardcore One Tree Hill fan itself.
I am. I've met Nathan.
Yeah, you're like...
And Lucas.
Nice.
And Haley. Yeah.
So did you pay for these as well, VIP ones?
That I did.
It seems like you really like I need to meet these people itself, a VIP.
I get attached to stories and people, and I get like really invested in it.
Yeah, because then you're like fully into the story,
yes,
and you're like really like, oh, this story is amazing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I learned like everything about it.
So I'm gonna say yes on aliens. You believe that for sure.
I do.
What about Bigfoot? Do you think Bigfoot is still around here?
That's hard to...
Like, have you ever seen Bigfoot? Or maybe like, what was that? Has anything ever happened to you where you were like, well, that was like supernatural or like that was really weird and I don't have an explanation for it. Does anything come up in your head like that?
Well, I feel like I can sort of like almost like I get like feelings that things are gonna happen before they do.
Oh,
so
okay.
like I'll
so
wake
you're like,
up
this
in the
is
morning.
weird.
Yeah. So like here's like an example. This happened. Like I woke up in the morning and I was like, I don't know. I just have this really bad feeling that my story isn't gonna work out today. And it didn't.
Oh, and then you're like, I know it.
And so it's just like, that's just too weird.
Yeah, it's like it's like, well, is it?
Am I predicting it?
Or are you
or am I
setting
just so scared? Am I just so scared that it's not, that it doesn't? You know?
Do you think maybe like if you're just sending out that vibe in the universe, that's why that happens?
It could be.
Yeah, like
That could be it.
But has anything ever happened to you, like physically or so forth, and then you're like, that was a miracle? Like I remember one time this is a weird story. Like I was at Balance Rock, and I was running towards Balance Rock. It was like when I was very young. It was like me and my sister were running towards Balance Rock, and then there's that little hill that you go down, and then you go up it, right?
Yeah.
As I was running there, almost kind of like deja vu hit. I saw a snake, and I said, "Ah!" You know, I screamed.
I hate snakes.
Yeah, snakes are pretty bad. But actually, you know what? They're not that bad.
I'm not a fan.
You gotta hold a few snakes to kind of get used to it. So I saw this snake, and then it's like I traveled back in time, and then I was like running again, and I was like, "This is weird. This just happened." And then I came to that snake again, and then it was a repeat of it twice. That was really weird. I don't know how to explain that. If I had a time machine, I'd want to go back in there and see exactly what happened there. I don't know.
That would be wild.
Yeah, just like an event happening twice. Deja vu.
Right.
Deja vu. Really weird.
Interesting.
Is there anything else that pops in your head that you're like, oh, this has to be real, but everybody thinks is like it's not real?
I don't know.
You know, did you eat your candy? I feel like I'm done with mine.
It's still here.
It's still here. So would you recommend this candy then?
We had that one, didn't we? Or are they the same?
They're kind of, this one's hotter. I think I gave you the hotter one, and this one's not as hot.
So like at first it was like not bad.
Yeah.
And then the first time you swallow, you're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
But now I feel like I'm just used to it.
Yeah. It's not that bad actually at all now. It's just like a little tingly. I thought it was way worse, but it definitely.
I've had worse.
Yeah, this is not as hot as possible. All right, well, I think this is good. Did you think anything else we need to talk about, Elizabeth? Did I miss anything?
I think we covered it.
You think we covered it or so forth? You're going to get me some new people. If you find somebody, like, you got to do this podcast, and then I'll just record the whole thing, see their whole story.
That'd be so good, yeah.
Everybody's story.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I've never been on, like, this side.
Yeah.
I'm always on your side.
I'm like the reporter, and you're like the potato farmer with your potato.
With the bananas, yeah. Because I'm always the one asking.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of wanted to see your story a little bit here.
Well, thank you. It's been fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for coming on. I enjoyed this. I don't know if we'll do this candy thing all the time. It seems like a bad idea.
It was rough.
It was pretty rough. It's still hot in here.
Yeah.
And we'll just go from there.
I feel like my nose is running.
Yeah, clears all up your sinuses and so forth.
Yeah.
But anyways,
great.
we'll keep seeing you on the news. You keep on busting out those stories, and I think maybe people get to know you just a little bit from just watching this now.
I hope so.
Cool.
It's been fun. Thanks.
All right. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming again. Bye-bye. And that's it. We got it.
That was great.
That's the whole